I posted on the community tab that I was going to answer some questions, and one of the older Q&A videos I did, which was the last Q&A video I did, which was like 5 months old, I don't think there was a ton of interest in it. It got, just some limited views, but quite a few questions. I say we just read a few and answer some questions. All right, let's do this. I say we sort them by oldest to newest. I think that's fair because the people that asked questions first should get answers first. You can't sort oldest to newest, but you can sort newest to oldest and then scroll to the bottom. Any solo trip plans or thoughts? No. What has been the most rewarding part of going full-time YouTuber? I don't really have an answer for you other than I'm just glad I don't have to think about selling insurance as much. Do you take anything with you on your trips for self-defense? If I did, I wouldn't tell you. Fighting off bugs, what do you use? There is Picardin lotion, which is awesome. That's made by Sawyer. I highly recommend that. That is probably the #1. Also, what's that stuff called? Permethrin spray. You can get like permethrin in a bottle and spray it on your stuff. That works really well too. As new to I think they're trying to say new to canister stoves, what brand do you notice is better? I favor the brand Soto, and my favorite is the Soto Windmaster, so I highly recommend that one. Insoles for Ultras, just the ones that came with them, and they work great. Who has more fun, backpacking campers or thru hikers? Backpacking campers, duh. Cheap underquilt or hammock solution? There might be some out there, but you're gonna spend at least 150 bucks on any of that stuff, like individually. So, while out camping, do you ever think someone is watching you even though you can't see anyone? Yes, I do. With all your gear you need, is there an optimal weight for my pack minus water and food? That's a really good question. I don't think there is an optimal weight that's like a standard. I think it depends on how far you're gonna hike, how old you are, what's your health like, who you're hiking with, how long you're going for. So man, that's a really good question. Unfortunately, it's a tough question, but I would just say pack as light as you can, but as comfortable as you can be. And, think about how far you're gonna hike ahead of time and don't be too advantageous, just try to do your best. All right, do you have any recommendations for those of us about to start vlogging? I just started vlogging, so maybe you've got some recommendations for me. What do you have to say about all the Dan Becker haters? There's just a couple. How do you handle ticks while hiking? I actually have never gotten a tick on the trail, ever. I've gotten tons of ticks. Even in my backyard, there's lots of ticks, but never one time when I was hiking. So I guess I haven't had to experience that. Who's your favorite shill brother? I'm never gonna tell. Why do you switch back and forth and back again to and from ultralight? Let me just say, I don't think this guy watched my videos on that stuff because I have never switched back and forth. I was ultralight, switched to not really ultralight, and I've never changed. So you gotta watch all of those videos in the entirety to really see that I never did that. So, wolves? That's not really a question. What is your favorite lesser known trail to hike and camp on? Lesser known trail to hike and camp on? That's a really good question. I don't know. I think I've never really hiked a lesser known trail that I'm aware of. Have you hiked the Superior Trail in Minnesota? And if so, what do you think was the best section? I've never hiked it. I would love to though. So if you get there before I do, let me know. We Get You Like a Chair. Do you ever see it being replaced by a different product? That company really needs to freaking sponsor you. I agree. Helinox, hook a brother up. When are you going to come to the West and do a meet and greet? I actually had one scheduled for April, but the company that was bringing me out there decided they weren't able to because just some troubles that they were going through. So hopefully that'll get rescheduled. We'll see. Hey Dan, I know you hike with your kids. I'm curious what gear companies you would recommend for kids under the age of 12. Yeah, Osprey has some great stuff. REI has some great stuff, backpacks and stuff like that. And then also Deuter has some great kids backpacks. You can go back and check out some of my older videos, and I do talk about some of that stuff on there. Have you hiked or do you want to hike any sections of the Appalachian Trail? I've hiked the Appalachian Trail in extremely short sections, like probably a half a mile when I was in the Smokies. But yeah, I would love to hike parts of the Appalachian Trail. Who wouldn't? How do you pick a trail for you and the kids to hike overnight backpack? That totally depends, you know, where I'm going, but I try to keep it low miles and easy hiking, and I always have a bailout plan, like at least have an opportunity to bail to like a car for the first night if I need to, because if it goes south, you don't want to be stuck somewhere. How do you find filming trips affects the actual trip? Great question. It totally affects the actual trip. It takes twice as long to do the trip, I feel like. And I'm actually looking forward to, hopefully in the very near future here, to take a trip and just not bring a camera. I think that'll be awesome. Would you rather camp with wife alone or kids alone? Wife alone. Do you think you're better than the rest of us? No. What's your favorite end of the world, sky is falling, zombie apocalypse type movie? Dude, I love these questions. I don't know. Any thoughts about Dan Durstron drop X-Mid 2-person tent? I've seen it. It does look pretty awesome. I've never used it. Those are my only thoughts. Dan Becker, I love your channel. Okay, do you intend to through hike something shorter? No, I don't intend to really through hike anything. That's never been my intent. I just like getting out and camping and backpacking. So through hiking, yeah, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not really looking to do it. Have you ever had a Bigfoot encounter or any other strange experience while out backpacking? Maybe. I'm considering a single wall tent to cut weight for solo trips. Is it worth the condensation issues I've heard about? Yeah, I think condensation can be easy to manage. Totally depends on the situation. Wintertime, it's terrible. So if you can do a double wall tent, I'd say do a double wall tent in the winter if you can get away with it. But if you've only got a single wall tent, which I've done in the winter, it's not the end of the world. So just make sure it's big enough and make sure that you don't have your sleeping bag and other things touching the walls of the tent, and you'll typically be fine. When it comes to frameless packs, are they true to their comfort weight limits? And most importantly, do you miss load lifters? So I've never used a frameless pack. I don't intend to, because I do carry a heavier pack, mainly because of my camera gear. I carry like 6-7 pounds of camera gear. I think they're referring to the HMG pack that I have now not having load lifters on it. And honestly, I think it's just designed well enough that it doesn't need them, because I have not noticed it at all. Have you ever tried backcountry canoe tripping? No. That sounds awesome. What's your favorite sleeping pad? Nemo Tensor insulated pad is my favorite by far. What are your thoughts on old gear? Man, if it's working for you, keep it. If you can find old gear that works, buy it. It's usually cheap and it's usually awesome. What is your EDC? Do you guys want to see an EDC video? Would that be something you guys actually be interested in? I got a feeling like maybe people really wouldn't be too interested in that, but I'll do it if you guys want to see it. Do you ever think you'll do a through hike now that you're doing YouTube full time? Maybe not a PCT or AT, but something a little shorter. No. I have no desire to through hike anything. That is not what I want to do. I am done after like 3-4 days. I want to get home to my family, and I just enjoy being home. So no. How does one change clothing in a hammock? Asking for a friend. Do you have a favorite Bible verse? Of course I have a favorite Bible verse, yeah. Philippians 4:13, that's a good one. What's the biggest challenge with getting kids into backpacking or camping? Okay, so here's what I've noticed about getting my own kids into backpacking and camping is that I get frustrated when they don't want to do it, and I feel like they're missing out, and I'm always frustrated when I try to force it on them, and I shouldn't. So don't force it on them. Some kids want to do it, some kids don't. And if you force it on them, it's just gonna make it worse. So that's at least what I've noticed with my own kids. I like down stuff, but I'm afraid I'll get wet. Do you have additional rain gear in case? Yeah, I do. I take a rain jacket with me to put over the top of my down jacket in case it gets wet, or in case it starts raining, then I can cover it up. Have you ever been backpacking in Canada and know where I can find info on the regulations? I've never been backpacking in Canada. Have you ever done any backpacking out in Oregon? No, but that sounds awesome. What do you miss the most about being a smaller channel? I miss not being on the radar. What does your wife think of your rise to YouTube stardom? I am not a YouTube star, but thank you for saying that. Any chance we may see you on the PCT or more of the NCT, Pacific Crest Trail and the North Country Trail? That's where North Country Trail is where Pictured Rocks is, and they're talking probably through Michigan, and yes, I will absolutely be up there again. Have you considered trying to survive a weekend of bushcrafting in the woods with another channel? Yes, I have actually, and I am in talks with a channel right now to do that, so stay tuned. Best hikes in Europe? No clue. Will you do more vids with kids? Of course. How do you get others into the backcountry for the first time? You drag them out there. I don't know. You just make it as comfortable as humanly possible for them. That's what I found works the best, because everybody's fear, it seems like anyway, is that they're just not going to be comfortable. When you first start backpacking, how much back, shoulder discomfort is normal? Usually quite a bit, because people don't know what to bring, don't know how to bring it, and don't know how to wear a backpack. So what is your bowling average? 100? Do you have a trail bucket list? Yes, I want to hit up Glacier National Park. Any plans this summer for the Southern Kettles? They're talking about Wisconsin. Probably not in the summertime, it's miserable. What is your inspiration to keep pushing in life on the trail? I would say my number one inspiration is God. Will there be more collaboration with other content creators going forward? Yeah, sure, I'm sure we'll probably do some more. Any good dad jokes? I can row a boat. Canoe? I also live in Wisconsin. Are there any through hike trails that you know of that allow you to primitive camp anywhere along the trail in this state? Not really. Ice Age Trail, there's a few spots, but that's about it. And then maybe up in northern Wisconsin, you could probably find some trails. I finally slept comfy for the first time in a tent thanks to you recently. You're welcome. I was wondering if you have any tips on keeping a balanced diet while backpacking. No, I'm not a very good eater in the backcountry. You do not want to ask me that question. What's the thing you've been most happy about giving up for someone else? Man, that is a deep question. I have no idea. What would you recommend to replace a sleeping bag / quilt for summer camping? I don't know that there really is much of a replacement. Have you ever hiked the AT, PCT, or CDT? Fill us in on your hiking background. I think I've already answered that first question. Fill us in on your hiking background. I started backpacking about 5 years ago and became completely addicted. I'm a weekend warrior. I'm not a thru hiker. I hike a lot with my kids, and I take mainly short trips. What inspired you to document the hikes and start making videos? I got frustrated. I couldn't find information on something when I was looking up YouTube videos, so I figured it out on my own and I made a video, and that was it. People started watching it, so I kept making videos. Well, this has been Dan Becker reporting from the house, even though sometimes I kind of wish I was out on the trail backpacking, and I couldn't even get outside and film today because it is literally raining like crazy. So guys, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time.